Solving the stupidest debates.
If there's one thing people like to do on the internet, it's argue. And I personally think a lot of these debates can be looked at objectively. Now,
I don't even think it's just on the internet. I think arguing in general's super fun. I think there's people that argue too much, and I may be in that group. But then I also think there's people that don't argue enough, right? I think there's a certain type of person that avoids confrontation in every way whatsoever. Like, it could be a base debate about something non-religious, non-political, non-controversial, and they'll just be like, can't we all get along? Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. You know, now, do some people take it too far and give me death threats when I say that Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 was a bad game? Yeah, right? But at the same time, I want there to be people that are annoyed with me and upset that they don't like my take, right? That's fine. That's a part of the argument. I dissed the game that they love, and so they have a rebuttal.
questions are obviously deeper than others.
Other niggas had your bitch outside.
It wasn't my
Then shut the f up in 2024.
You sound dumb.
But as you read the title, these are ones that I consider stupid.
Where's the parachute?
I thought you said parachutes.
And ones that can be answered pretty easily. But when I look at some of the most popular arguments, I realize that we really just be fighting about anything. Water. Is it wet?
Oh my God, bro. Is it going to be these ones? It's going to be yes, water's wet. Yes, water's wet. This is the stupidest debate. Is water wet is the dumbest fucking debate. I will say I'm a little stumped on the does a straw have one or two holes argument, and I've, gone back and forth. Water is objectively wet because the definition of something being wet is having water molecules attached to it. And when you say is water wet, you're using the term water as a plural. You're saying water as a liquid substance in a container. You're not saying that is one singular water molecule wet. You're saying is water wet. And water is other water molecules attached to other water molecules, therefore making water as a whole plural wet.
Is water wet has to be a troll. What do you mean is water wet? And for the people that are still confused on my stance, yes, it is. I don't know about you, but this...
St. Don, this is why I love you. You almost had me there. You almost had me worried for a minute, okay? Because he said this is a stupid... Whatever he just said, I was like, oh my God, I swear to fuck if he's going to be like, well, if you jump into the water, how are you wet until you're outside of the water? That's the argument that the smooth brains on the internet are fucking spewing, dude. Oh, if I'm in the water, how am I? I'm not wet if I'm in the water, so the water's inside of the water, so it's not wet unless it's outside of the water. Oh my God. What are we talking about, bro?
This looks pretty wet to me. Yes, the implications of something being wet.
So soda's wet. Yes. Yes. Any liquid is inherently wet. Liquids make things wet and are wet in themselves.
Is a solid interacting with the liquid and making it wet. But deep it though, even though water is...
The only argument that I will entertain about is water wet is the fact that you could argue that linguistically, the word wet applies to things that were at once dry and are no longer dry. So there I could get, but that is the only thing that I could say, yes, all right, fine. Are you hungry but don't have the time to prepare an entire meal? Well, that's where today's sponsor, Factor, comes into play. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen meals directly to your door that are ready within just 2 minutes. Literally all you have to do, check the directions on the back that'll tell you how long to microwave it. Take the sleeve off, poke some holes into the film, put it in the microwave, let it rest, and you're good to go. Factor is also owned by HelloFresh, so if you want something that you want to prepare yourself, you go with HelloFresh, and if you want something that's easy to just throw in the microwave and eat in that time frame that you have available, use Factor. They have so many options that are changing every week. You are bound to find something that you enjoy. I use it when I don't have time to meal prep. When I'm done streaming, it's easy to just grab one of the boxes of, whatever I want that day. For this one, obviously, this box is sweet potato grits and sage chicken. I just throw that in the microwave and I'm able to eat it and get, a good meal's worth of food. in minutes. So head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code JOBYFB50 and get your first Factor box 50% off as well as free breakfast for 1 year. That is code JOBYFB50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off your first box and free breakfast for 1 year. Forgot to say thank you to Factor for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it.
If you're gonna sit here and tell me water's dry though, you are a complete jester. Anywho, next question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I don't know about this one. I've been stumped on this one for a while. Same with is cereal soup. I think these kind of fall into the same category of like, I don't really care, right? Like, I don't want to see, you know what I mean? Where I was just bitching about the people that don't want to take a stance. But this is something that I just like don't give a fuck about, right? I'll stand on the is water wet hill, but like, is a hot dog a sandwich? I'm neither here nor there, right? Like, I don't really care. A hot dog's a taco? No, I think a taco is definitively something that uses a tortilla, because you can have a hard shell, soft shell taco, but a taco uses a tortilla. A hot dog uses bread, and it could be potato bread or whole wheat bread or whatever type of bread, but it's never a tortilla because it's not made of corn. Ooh, but bread is made of they have flour tortilla. I don't know.
Now, if you're not a complete lunatic,
I feel like a sandwich needs to be encased in two different distinct slices of bread. So, yes, but see, small fries. Small fries, here's the problem. Have you ever had a hot dog? All right, this might bring up some bad feelings for people. Have you ever had a hot dog before where the lining that keeps the two sides of the bun together separates, and then you kind of have to like manhandle the hot dog and keep it up? Because if you don't, it like falls out of the bottom. Horrible vibes. But in that sense, that hot dog's a sandwich, no? So if I cut out the lining that holds the hot dog bun pieces together, then is it a sandwich? I would say that is the determining factor. But is a hoagie a sandwich? A sub is a Subway sandwich. Like Subway is a sandwich. Technically, it's in its own category. But no, it can't be in its own category because a hot dog is the same bread shape as a sub, right? Like a baguette that you cut in half, and then now you have two pieces that are still combined.
Now, if you're not a complete lunatic, everything in your mind is telling you
I don't know. I think there's a category of sandwich where you're eating it like this, and then one where you're eating it like this. Sandwich, hoagie, hot dog. And you got to hold both sides. Stop saying pause. That's what it is. Like a hamburger. Oh, God. Is a burger a sandwich? Yeah. A burger's a sandwich. No. I feel like a burger is its own category. A hamburger is its own sandwich. What about a quesadilla? I don't know. Quesadilla, its own thing.
hot dog is not in fact a sandwich, but it's the same sort of thing as the is water wet argument. You know, like the definition and the outline of what a sandwich is would technically make a hot dog a sandwich. That would be if a meat rocket was not its own category of food. Do not put meat missiles in the same conversation as sandwich.
Yo, I was gonna say, if you unironically go to Sonic and order a foot-long chili cheese dog, you are a psychopath. Not even a sociopath, like beyond that. Like, I think if you are going to, if you're hungry and you're driving through, you know, the fucking gray nothingness that is America, and you're passing strip malls full of, you know, Taco Bell, Arby's, Burger King, Wendy's, you know, fucking Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, you know, maybe even an In-N-Out or a Five Guys, and you go, I would love a fucking water ice slushy and a fucking foot-long coney dog from Sonic. That's the worst option. Like, I would rather go to Sonic. I also gotta say, no, Sonic actually, I would rather go to Arby's than Sonic. I hate Sonic. I think it's one of the worst fast food places. If we did a fast food tier, I would love to do it. We haven't done a fast food tier list forever. I actually, side note, should we do a fast food tier list real quick? Sonic's the only F tier. The only F tier. This is too many fast food places. Ugh, we'll do it another day. I'm too lazy. We'll do a whole day where we just rip tier lists, chat. I don't give a fuck. Bro, Sonic's F tier because listen, their onion rings are sweet. That alone. Go to a Sonic and get the onion rings. Bro, they're like sugary. What? Gross. On top of that, Sonic has a weird smell. They're also leaning. I'm not seeing enough rollerblade action, if I'm being honest. What's with the whole drive-through rollerblade shit when nobody fucking does it? You know? I've been to a Sonic a few times. I'm never seeing the motherfuckers on the rollerblades. Isn't that your whole shtick? Is the rollerblades? Where are they? Nowhere. Right? I think it's a location basis. All the locations I go to, they ain't rocking the rollerblades. I feel like that should be like a first and foremost part of your application. If you can't ride rollerblades, you can't work at Sonic. Right? That's what's cool about Sonic. On top of that, their fucking slushy drinks that they hype up taste like fucking ass. Like just actually like an artificial medicine. Their burgers were mid, but when I could eat them. And the hot dogs, blech.
Rocket. These are two very different experiences. And also, sub technically has that same sus shape to it. And most people will consider that a sandwich. In my personal opinion, subs are way more sandwich-like than a glizzy. And frank.
Well, it's the contents. That's why. Because are we talking about the bun or are we talking about the internal? Because what makes a sandwich is more about the bun than the actual inside. Because a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a sandwich, but then so's the turkey and cheese, you know? Like, and those are drastically different things. The thing that's the same is the bread. The reason people say subs are more like sandwiches than hot dogs is because in a Subway sandwich, you're just getting shit you would get in a sandwich anyway. You're not cutting up. Okay, have you ever had a struggle meal where you chop up a hot dog? All right, so you have hot dogs, you run out of buns, but you got regular bread. So you chop a hot dog into a bunch of circular cubes or circles, and then you just lay them out flat on bread. That's good.
Glizzy and frank.
Actually tastes really good. I would say sometimes, if that wasn't like socially disturbing, it's honestly kind of better than a hot dog in some ways. But the reason that it loses is because I think a potato roll is a top 5 bread roll. Potato bread is like heaven.
Also only have one bun. It's not even close to being a sandwich if it only has one bun. I'd say that's closer to a pizza than a hot dog is to being a sandwich. But I was already pissed off reading some people's backwards logic for why a hot dog is the same as a sandwich. But then this nigga has to say it's a taco.
Look, some people.
Yeah, I think anybody, whoever in my chat said that it was a taco, I think we're really off the rocker there. That's not the argument. It's either a hot dog's its individual thing looped in with the category of a sub, or it's just a sandwich. Like, it's a taco's its own thing.
Need to be gone, bro. You know what I'm talking about? In order for shit to get better. He one of them.
And for our next debate, this is a pretty recent one that went really viral. And that's 100 men versus 1 gorilla.
I was on the wrong side of this debate for some time. I was on the wrong side of this debate. I think I was on the gorilla side for quite some time. 100 men, I was swayed, chat. I did my research. I was swayed. 100 men beat a gorilla. Now, it's literally just an exhaustion factor. I think the 100 men, I used to say that the gorilla would win off of fear, right? And that the people wouldn't run at them all at one time. The gorilla has the strength. But like 30 or 40 kills in, the gorilla's so gassed that you could just punch it to death. Like, it doesn't have the stamina for it. They're biologically meant for short spurts of energy, and that's it. They don't chase things.
And from my observations, this one is like a 70-30 split, with 70% of people believing the gorilla would win and the other 30 believing the men would win.
I think it started out that way. I think most people have switched sides. Not everybody. But I think most people would realize, now it's different, how big are these men, right? Because there's a difference between if it's like the average Nordic man versus like, or like a Pacific Islander, you know, like a big Samoan dude. I think at that sense, you could have like 12 Samoan guys and they'd probably kill the fucking gorilla. But like, now if you, like, it depends, you know, stature, strength, that does play a factor. But I don't think 100 of any grown man would lose.
If you had like 60 people all dedicated to f***ing up this gorilla, I don't think it stands even a chance. One gorilla versus 100 people. Bro, 100 people is just overwhelming numbers. You got 2 people grabbing each arm, you got 2 people grabbing each leg, someone kicking straight meat. Like, tell me I'm not onto something. Okay,
I think I could draft 10 guys to beat a gorilla. That was also a fun like twist or spin-off of the original debate. Like, if well, honestly, a lot of people are drafting like John Jones, and I think John Jones, yeah, he's in the top 10 guys cumulatively to beat a gorilla. But so many people were just, dude, I saw somebody be like Conor McGregor, way too tiny. You know, if you're fighting a gorilla, he's not going to be able to use MMA experience to like arm bar something that could deadlift 2,000 pounds, no training. Like, you want to get just straight up strongmen, like people that by weight just tower over this gorilla. I'm still picking John Jones, yeah, or like Rampage Jackson, just because like they're also 260 pounds, you know. But then I'm also just grabbing Hafthor Bjornsson, Brian Shaw, guys that weigh 440 and are 7 feet tall.
in fact not onto something. The original plan was just to glaze 100 humans and talk about how we would just overwhelm the gorilla, but I took it to myself to ask ChatGPT for help. And in order to get a representation on how difficult it would be to fight the gorilla, I asked what animals is weak to humans as humans are to gorillas. And since a gorilla is roughly 4 to 9 times stronger than a human, ChatGPT came up with a common marmoset. Now,
more than 4 times? What? That's gotta be wrong, bro. The average human can barely bench like 135. And you're telling me that the gorilla's fucking... I also asked ChatGPT this question when this happened, chat. So I'm not upset that he's asking ChatGPT. But I think ChatGPT isn't going to be reliable in actually playing out this, you know, fucking hypothetical scenario.
Marmoset. Now, what the fuck is a marmoset, you ask? I was picturing something maybe the size of a small dog.
What the dog doing?
Why is it the size of a human hand? I am easily...
Chat, actually, I was having a debate with my friends about this the other day. How strong is the average male? Dude, is the average male... I used to think and I'm not shaming by any sense, you know? I used to genuinely believe the average man, say in the United States, would be able to bench 185, like maybe 135 at least. And then I saw the Barstool like Olympics that they held, and every average worker they had in office couldn't put up one plate. And then I realized, I was like, oh, the average man could probably bench like 100 pounds. But I don't know. I think my mind was skewed because it's like, I wasn't thinking about the average guy that, like, most people don't go to the gym. Most people don't go to the gym, and most people nowadays have office jobs. So it's like, if you have a guy that's like 5'9", hasn't played a sport since high school, he's in his 30s, and he works an office job and he doesn't go to the gym, he probably maximum benches 120. If he's like, you know, 170 pounds. Like, he's not capable of lifting one plate. And in that sense, you're like 9 or 10 times weaker than a gorilla. That's just not true whatsoever. I would say it is. I would say the average man could probably not bench 135. Grown man, not high schooler. I think high schoolers would actually bench more than the average man. Because I think most people in their 30s, the strongest they ever were was when they were 18. What do you mean by grown man? 35. The average 35-year-old man is weaker and less athletic than the average high schooler. Average. I'm not talking about, and when I say average, it's a big skew, right? You can disagree, because there's 35-year-old men that are in the union that could fucking punch a hole through a high schooler's chest, right? But on the same side, there are 35-year-olds that don't do any physical activity and haven't for over a decade.
100 men fight a gorilla. I'm gonna just have to leave this one open. But for our next debate, I'm not gonna give it any build up. It's this fucking dress. And
oh god, this is an old debate. Wow. I remember this shit was on like Ellen, bro. This was over 10 years ago.
If you see black and
it's blue and black.
Blue, you're lying, but the dress is in fact black or blue. You know, just because one you're lying, but the dress is gonna give it 100 men fight. It's this fucking dress. And if you see black and blue, you're lying, but the
What other color is it? I mean, this one, it's more of a debate than on the right. The right is clearly black and blue.
but the dress is in fact black or blue. You know, just because one thing is one way doesn't mean the same thing can't be another way.
What the hell are you talking about, bro?
Because, yeah, the debate has been closed for a minute now. The person that took the original photo took another one and said it was black and blue. And it was, in fact, the lighting of the dress that affected how it...
But I don't think that lighting makes it look white and yellow or white and gold. I could maybe see the gold on the black part of the strips, but, like, this is clearly just, like, a sun glare.
looked. And I'm not even trying to be different, alright? But I'd honestly say the dress is gold and blue. And I knew I wasn't tripping.
I would get behind that more than white and gold. You could say a gold and blue, or like a brown.
Blue. And I knew I wasn't tripping, alright? Color Select says that's the colors that are projecting into my eyes. So yeah, the real dress is black and blue, but this fucking ass photo is gold and blue. And another debate that is cereal soup. And before...
No, see, I just don't care, bro. I feel like soup has to be... Is soup always savory? I feel like cereal's sweet. And sweet things are not soup. I've never had a non-savory soup. Soup has to be hot? That's not true. I was going to say that, and then I cut myself off. You could have a cold soup.
Before you even say anything, yes, I know the argument, solid food inside liquid, served in a bowl. Technically, that is soup behavior. But we just all know cereal is not soup. If somebody hands me cereal and calls it soup, I don't trust the...
Yeah, like if you were like, what's your soup of the day? And they said, Trix cereal. You would be... Like, you would have a visceral reaction at a restaurant. Well, I don't think you should be asking soup of the day anyway, because who the fuck gets a soup of the day at a fucking restaurant? But anyways, I don't know. I think getting soup at a restaurant in general is crazy. I'm gonna have that take. You are paying to eat food prepared for you, and you're ordering something that's just like in a big bowl in the back, just warm. Like, I want something made for me. I don't know. I just think getting soup at a restaurant, it's like you could just make it yourself, and it would be almost exactly the same. Olive Garden soup and salad, that's different though, because it's like a side dish. I'm saying people that were ordering the soup as their main meal. Like, why are we going out to a restaurant where they cook shit?
Okay, on to our next debate. How many holes does this shirt have?
2. 4. It's 4. It's 4. No, it's 4. Because if you see through, look, chat, for me to have, it's 8. Oh, because the neck hole and the arm holes. Okay. Yeah. No, okay. I was more so thinking about this, like the ripped holes. It's 8 holes. There's 4, and then there's 2 in the front, because from a flat perspective, it just looks like 2 holes here, but there's 4.
First of all, what kind of fucking shirt is this? This is some shit niggas would wear if it was Rick Owens. But I'm not gonna lie, this one's more like a riddle, because a lot of people forget to include the hole in the neckline and the sleeves and underneath, you know. Most people would say it has 2 holes, but it actually has 8. So this wasn't really a debate until people started arguing on whether a hole is just 1 hole, if it has an...
It's 12, man. What the fuck? Where are you counting 12 holes? Where are you counting 12 holes?
entry and an exit.
Oh, God. I remember debating about this in high school, my senior year of high school. I think a straw I still think it has 2 holes because a tunnel has an entrance and an exit, which would be 2 separate holes, right? The problem is, at what length does it become 1 hole? Because the great counterpoint is a donut has 1 hole. But if you elongate that donut, now it's 2. But when does that part change?
But for the answer to this question, I'll simply have to say that
It's got to be a long hole. Pause. Long hole.
holes don't actually exist.
My argument was like when they're drilling a tunnel, right? They're digging a hole through a mountain. One hole, right? And then say the other person's digging through the other side. 2 individual holes. They combine. Bang, burst through. Now it's 1 hole.
They're nothing but a concept art. Because think about it for a second. A hole is literally just the absence of something. It's not a thing.
Okay. I'm digging through the earth. I'm digging to China. Hup. I break through the other side. You're going to go, there's 1 big hole in the whole earth. No, you're going to go, there's 2 holes. Actually, no, because I'd be like, there's 1 hole that leads to... I wouldn't even call it a hole. I would call it a tunnel. A straw is a tunnel. How many holes does a tunnel have? How many holes? A straw is a tunnel. How many holes does a tunnel have? 1 hole. All right, I lost.
You can hold, it's not a thing you can grab. It's just where something used to be, but isn't anymore. Which means, technically speaking, a hole is just nothing.
Nothing?
But now my brain's overheating, so instead let's just move on to a debate that's somehow even more pointless, but also way bigger.
Massive, dude.
This is probably one of the biggest debates of all time, and it's gender wars. Who is better, woman or man?
Alani finding out of Orem, Utah. Let's go, baby.
And it all seems to be the same
At what?
thing. All right, women saying all men are like this, men saying all women are like this. And at the root of it, it's just clearly a human problem. But apparently that's not a good enough answer, and no one will stop until there's a clear winner. So who is objectively better? In order to decide this, I
Yo, this is a bad conversation to have, St. Don. I don't think you want to take a side on this one, brother.
decided to borrow this power comparison
Situational. I don't think you want to broadly pick one.
system from this One Piece edit. Now it was used to compare Roger and Shanks. We're gonna use it to compare man and woman. Before y'all complain, this is a very scientific system. 9 in 10 doctors approved. And now we have round 1, strength. Now the men are gonna take this first round. The heaviest weight ever lifted by a man being 510 kgs, and the heaviest weight lifted by a woman coming at close at 325 kgs, which is still insane, by the way.
The side or not the side conversation, the rebuttal, playing devil's advocate here, is, well, men, yes, are naturally stronger than women, but the strongest weight lifted by the woman is probably higher of her body weight than the man, right? No? Like, if the world's strongest man lifted 510 kilograms and the world's strongest woman lifted 325, how much did they weigh? Because I'm saying the ratio, like, by weight, who's stronger.
Jeez. Which is still insane, by the way. If somebody told me to pick up 325 kgs, my spine would just Gwen Stacy. But sorry, lady.
Oh my God, is that a real video?
It's Gwen Stacy.
Dude, that's a trip to the hospital.
Sorry, ladies. The men are gonna take this one. And for round 2, we have speed. Okay, let me just stop. Because at the end of the day, fighting about gender is so pointless. Because what is the desired outcome here? The complete annihilation of the opposite gender? Because last time I checked, the human race requires both sides of the argument to even continue existing. And what I find so stupid is these giant overgeneralized statements that would imply an entire gender is just the scum of the earth. Like saying kill all men.
What did I do?
That would imply there's never been a good man that's ever lived ever. Just the addition of the word some does so much. But people don't do it because it doesn't rage bait hard enough. And rage baiting is a reason that 90% of people do gender wars, even if they realize it or not.
Call me delusional, but I think 100 girls can easily beat that gorilla.
And I've heard arguments like, it's not all men, but it's enough. Which, what is the implications there? You saying I'm one of the good ones?
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
But look, even if 100 men or women did you the worst 100 times in a row, they still another 4 billion men or women. And now those 100 grimy niggas now represent the other 4 billion. And the end result of this is just 2 groups of extremely online people convincing each other that
Well, and it's too broad to say every man or every woman. I will agree, right? You could say, genetically speaking, men on average are stronger, women have better emotional and social intelligence, right? But that is a case-by-case thing, right? Like, I am weaker than a lot of women, but I'm stronger than a lot of women, right? Vice versa for every man.
the opposite gender is a different species.
The older I get, the more I realize that women are humans.
But finally, for our last debate, this one
Bro, what?
is
The older I get, The more I realize that women are humans.
The older I get, the more I realize that women are humans just like us guys and are excited for the development, for this development. Bro, what?
But finally, for our last debate.
Like, how did he not?
This one might actually be the stupidest one yet, but the question is, if you punch yourself and it hurts, are you weak or strong?
If my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a...
If I punch myself and it hurts, am I weak or strong? Both. Test it out. That did hurt. Oh, fuck. I don't know. Because it's like, if I'm strong enough, if it doesn't hurt, then I'm too weak to make it hurt. But if it does hurt, then I'm too weak that it did hurt, but I'm strong enough to make it hurt. I don't know. I feel like it's a glass cannon type of thing.
Bike. You know what? You know.
This debate is so dumb. If you punch yourself and it doesn't hurt, that doesn't prove you're strong or weak. And neither does punching yourself and being in pain.
No, it doesn't prove anything, actually, because it's relative to your own body.
The only thing you're proving is that you're not incredibly weak. But listen, right? If a kid around the ages 10 to 13 haymakered my unsuspecting chin at full force, right? It's most likely going to hurt. That doesn't mean the kid is...
A 10-year-old?
10 to 13 haymakered my unsuspecting chin at full force, right? It's
That's a big difference. Like, the average 10-year-old hitting you with a haymaker and punching you square in the jaw is going to hurt a lot less than the average 13-year-old punching you in the jaw. Because that's somebody that could be like 6 foot versus like 4'10". Like, it still hurt? Yeah, but I don't think I would get dropped.
Most likely going to hurt. That doesn't mean the kid is stronger than me. It just means I got punched in the face. Unless it's one of those kids like in East Bay at 12 years old. Okay, maybe he was stronger than me.
Yo, like, whenever I see those videos of somebody getting slumped, like, what is it called when somebody punches you in the face and you weren't ready for it? Like a cheap shot? Like, whenever I see those videos where somebody, like, they'll be in an argument and the dude just decks him. Yeah, like a sucker punch. I'm like, that don't prove that you're stronger than that guy, you know? And there's certain instances where I'm like, okay, yeah, that guy had it coming to him. But when you sucker punch somebody, that doesn't mean, like, you're badass. It's like, you guys didn't fight. Like, you kind of just hit him when he wasn't prepared. Who the hell is 6 foot at 13? This kid right here. Me. I was like 5'11" or 6 foot when I was in, like, 7th and 8th grade.
Also, if I was to swing full force at Eddie Hall, form is strongest.
That's why I have stretch marks all over my body. I stopped growing freshman year. On God. I am the same height I was when I was 14.
But also, if I was to swing full force at Eddie Hall, former strongest man in the world, big brother guy. Now, this is going to go one of two ways. If my theory's correct, I knock this guy clean out. If not, my hand.
No, I don't think I knock Eddie Hall out even with a clean punch. I think if Eddie Hall stood there and went, punch me, and I full force just jawed him, I don't think he would pass out. I think he might fall. But the biggest part of passing out is, like, the instability in your neck muscles. And, like, if I'm able to make him go like that, and I don't think I could make Eddie Hall, like, snap his neck, you know? Like, I think I'd just punch him, and he would eat that shit. And then I would see, and then my life would flash before my eyes. And then I would actually die.
Is going this. But I've been told I end my videos too suddenly. So,
I've been told I end my videos too suddenly, bro. Just ends it. Please like and subscribe. W video. Debates could either be good, educational, sophisticated, then there is cereal soup. Well, no, it's like a fun... These are like the brain rot debates, right? The best debates are the hypotheticals of, like, alien lands into your backyard, what do you do, right? But, because that's, like, more involved than just a yes or no. It's like, there's a multi-parter to it. I also gotta go piss real quick, too.